Hey everyone, Cerise here. I am just outside of Cabarete in the Dominican Republic at a beautiful resort area. I have the sea on one side and a pool on the other. And I am chilling right here, just relaxing. And I share so much with you guys, my personal stuff throughout my life, but sometimes I don't share everything, and because I might seem really positive, which I am, but that's because over the years I've learned not to sweat the small stuff. But the other day, I actually, I did sweat something, but I'm not sure it was so small. And I did let it take the joy out of my day for about an hour, and maybe less than that, until I just released the toxins and the junk, and I realized that I shouldn't be allowing other people to dump their negativity on me. And so what happened was this, guys. What happened was this. I was chilling all day long at home, and I was relaxing on the phone. Not relaxing, I was working. I was promoting on Instagram. I was promoting on Facebook. I was promoting on my groups on Facebook and my pages, and also uploading a video on YouTube. So it took me until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon when Gino promised he was going to come by, and he did, to take me out to El Bate because I was in the house all day. I had to get water in a jug. I had to get the bare essentials for a lot of things. And I really just wanted to get out after being in the house all day. So that was about it. Gino showed up. I was all dressed, had my shoes on, my keys in my hand, was about to put Noche in her special little spot on the terrace where she likes to stay, and we weren't bringing her because we had so many groceries we would have to carry and things that I was going to have to get, and we weren't going to be long. So I decided that I was just going to pop on the bike and get going and come back. Now, for those of you who don't know where Chetamicos is and don't know where my where shopping is, El Bate from Chetamicos is about maybe a 3-minute motor concho drive, motorbike ride. So that was about it. I'm about ready to go, and all of a sudden I heard a ring on my door. My door, I have a little doorbell, and I know I didn't invite anybody over, and I know nobody gave me notice that they were coming by. And really, my only friend that I have here that I'm chilling with every day is me, myself, and I, Gino, my dog. That's it, right? And anybody else I'm always in contact with through WhatsApp, and they would let me know they're coming by. So I looked at Gino. Gino looked at me. I'm like, "Are you expecting anyone?" And he's like, "No." I said, "Neither am I." So I go to the door. When I get to the door, it is a woman, my ex-neighbor, that I just moved out of the place in El Bate a month before. And now a little history with her and I. We really don't know each other. I met her 2 weeks after I moved in. She left to go to her country, Norway, where she lives. She's an expat like I am. She's been here in the country for about 4 years, I guess. And so she went back to her country for 3 months. During that 3 months, I lived in the villa in Sosua in El Bate, and she kept her apartment. It was on top of me. Her boyfriend stayed there while she was gone, but I didn't see him very often at all. I still don't even know if I have the right guy, if it's her boyfriend. When she got back 3 months later, 2 weeks later, I was moving out. So, 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after I moved in, she left. And then 2 weeks after she got back, I was leaving. So it's not a lot of time to get to know someone. We only had 2 conversations at the end. Both of the conversations were about her boyfriend. And I think she was eager to know what was going on while he was gone. Well, she was gone. And again, I told her he was silent. He was quiet, never saw any women, never heard any noise upstairs. I didn't even know he was there until 2 months in when my neighbor downstairs, who loves to gossip, told me about her and her business. So when she started to ask me questions, I already had an inclination that she was trying to get information about her boyfriend. So I just came straight out and said, I don't even know who he is really. If I think he's the right one, does he ride a bike? And she's like, yeah, or something like that. And I'm like, I don't know. I really saw, if that, I only saw him like twice, if that, maybe 5 times. Like, I really don't know, you know? So anyway, I wasn't trying to pay attention to any of my neighbors anyway. I'm a very private person in that sense. So that was the conversations we had, 2 of them, and both of them were about her and her boyfriend. And she shared some private information with me about how her boyfriend, is disappointing her because she's catching him in a lot of lies and all that. But he's considerably younger than her. She's maybe 65, and he's 28. Right. So that's a huge difference. And a lot of you guys right now are probably saying, Sankey, Pankey, he's using her, he's gold digging. And I'm sure there is an element of that. I'm sure it is, because she's most likely generous to him. And she does seem somewhat vulnerable. When I get more to what I'm saying, you're going to understand what's happening. So this is the woman who was at my door. And before I had left the villa, I gave her my phone number because the second conversation we were having, it was going a little too long, and my friend Patricia was waiting for me, and we were packing to get back and forth to my new place and stuff, and we were busy, and the woman knew that, and she wasn't taking the social cues. I told her I was busy twice during that conversation. I told her I had to go, but she kept on talking. So I really felt at that moment she's vulnerable and she needs someone to speak to. But at that moment I couldn't. So I said, listen, I really got to go, but I can give you my phone number and maybe we can meet sometime for a coffee. And she was like, okay, yeah, that would be great. And I said, awesome. And then she's like, where in Chatamicos are you moving to? And I said, I didn't really want to give the information because I do like to have a certain element of privacy in my life as well. So I told her, oh, just inside. She goes, oh, no, not inside. Kind of negatively. And, I said yes, and I'm very happy there. I go there for lunch every day, and I'm quite peaceful there. She's like, oh, no, my boyfriend used to live there in Chatamicos. He was born and raised there. And I'm like, awesome, that's great. And then she's like, yeah. She goes, where are you moving to exactly? And then I didn't want to really divulge that information. So I said, oh, a doctor is my landlord down down by the water. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's exactly where my boyfriend lived. Now, at this point, I'm thinking she's either crazy or correct. So I said, oh, really? And she goes, yeah. And then she started to explain my apartment to a T. So I was like, wow, okay. Can you tell me a little bit about it? And that was synchronicity. And I always feel that's God at hand. That's God giving me information. If I had any questions answered right there, I had the information at my hands. So I said to her, can you tell me what it's like? Is it dangerous in that area? She said, no, there's just so much music. And I'm like, oh, I'm good with that. I was born in the hood. I think I miss being in downtown condominiums where everything's so quiet in Toronto, and I'm afraid to play my music loud. And I said, so I don't mind them playing music all day long. And then she's like, but there's a lot of motor conchos too. I said, oh, I'm on the bike quite a lot every day, so I don't mind the bikes. And she's like, oh, okay, well, good. And that was it. And I said, okay, so give me a shout sometime and maybe we'll go for a coffee. And that's the history with that. I wasn't expecting her to come and ring my doorbell. So I looked out the door and I had my keys in my hand and I looked at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, hi. I wasn't expecting you. And she's like, oh, hi. I just happened to pass by. Nobody passes by where I live. Okay, it's Chatamicos. It's all one-way streets. She has an SUV. You don't just pass by someone's place. So at this point, I was innocently thinking to myself, okay, she just wants to see the inside of my place. That's fine. She's being a little, curious what I did with the place. So I said to her, come on in and, you can have a quick tour. I'm busy right now. And I knew from before I had to be very clear with her because she doesn't take social cues of, realizing that she shouldn't make herself so important in someone's day. She should be like, oh my gosh, they're busy. Let me let them run. Let me get to their life. Let me let them get to their life. So I knew that about her already, so I said, all right, I'm busy and I'm on my way out to El Bate right now. So, maybe you can come back another time. I said, but let me give you a short, tour. I didn't take her straight into my living room because I didn't want to get stuck inside there trying to get her out the door. And then I didn't want to go into my bedroom either. So I kind of just stood in my hallway area, pointed to my living room where you can clearly see through the open door, a good view of it. And also I pointed to my left where my bedroom is. And if any of you guys have seen the videos so far of my new place, you will see it's quite easy just to do that because it's not so much of a grande place. It's a pequeña. It's a small apartment. So, she took it upon herself to kind of walk past me and go look right in the living room like she was looking for someone hiding. And I'm like, but she didn't go searching. She just went, oh, and ducked her head right into my living room. This is a woman who doesn't know me and made herself so important in my world that she would take a step, take a mile when I only gave her an inch. Then she went, and then when I pointed to my bedroom, she did the same thing, stepped right into my bedroom. Instead of being respectful and taking my social cue as to say, take a peek, I gotta go. That was it. I let her do what she did, and then I kind of went out into the kitchen area to usher her out, and be like, okay. And I said to her, so yeah, we're going to El Bate. I've been in the house all day. It's 4:00. Gino just got here, so I gotta go do some shopping. But thank you for stopping by. And she's like, oh, Gino just got here. And I said, yeah, Gino just got back from Cabarete. And she's like, Cabarete? And I said, yeah, he has a little place there and he's happy. I said he spends most of his days with me anyway and nights anyway. We're always together. That's not going to change. We're family. Gino and that's it. So he's my best friend here. He takes good care of me. I'll get more into that in my 9-month video, April 16th. But, so she's like, why Cabarete? Kind of with the whole negative thing that she did with me when she found out I was moving to Chatamicos. And I just wanted to look at her and be like, why are you still living in the villa that you are living in that I just moved out of? And I know it's already shady and dirty and no, not dirty, but they really got to do renovations in the apartments, and my fridge wasn't even working, and so it was just not cool and for her to be going on. But I didn't say anything to her. I still kept my joy, and I held my tongue and I held my corner. And I looked at Gino, and Gino looked at her and he's like, oh, Cabarete, I like Cabarete. And he's like, and I said, he loves Cabarete. And Gino said, my family lives there. And I said, yeah, his brothers live there, 3 brothers. Well, almost 4, because he has a stepbrother. And then also, his rent is 3,500 pesos. That's like $70 approximately. You can't go wrong with a 1-bedroom apartment like that. He can afford that. So I looked at her and I said, that's what he can afford and that's what he likes. And she's like, well, and I'm like, yeah, well, we got to go. And I had Noche in my arms the whole time. She was not taking the social clue that Noche's a little puppy, and Noche was climbing all the way up my neck, my hair back down the other side of me because I didn't want to put her on the floor and have her climb up the woman. That's the reason why I picked her up in the first place, because I was just putting her out on the terrace when the woman rang the bell, right? I was just getting Noche comfortable. So I was in the midst of all that anyway. And then I had to let Noche down, couldn't leash her, and then had to go get the woman and all that. And then that's when Noche was jumping on her. So, all that. And so at this point, I was holding the woman in my arms at this point, right? I mean, Noche in my arms. And the woman is just going on and on. And so I said, oh, we're so busy. And at this point, I am holding my corner. Never mind anything else. My tongue, I feel it starting to come out. And, when your tongue comes out your mouth, it's one of the strongest muscles. So you got to control it. And you could hurt somebody with your tongue, or you can heal somebody with your tongue. And at this moment, this woman was about to get a hurting. And I was like, just to be like, woman, what makes you so important to come to my apartment? And and act like you can just stand here and talk to me and take out my day. I would never come to your place unannounced and make myself more important in your world than what you're doing, And so I said it, but I didn't say it like that. I just said to her, listen, I'm really busy and I really got to go. I really got to get out the house. I've been in the house all day, so I'm going to give you my phone number. And next time you come, call me. And she said, what? And I said, oh, I don't mean to sound rude, but I'm just that type of person. I don't go to anyone's house unannounced, and I would like it very much if you respected my wishes too. And she looked at Gino and she said, that's not normal. And Gino looked at her like, okay, you have to respect Cerise's wishes. I don't care if it's not normal to you. He wasn't rude, but he just looked at her like, okay. And she's like, Dominicans aren't like that. And he's like, well, some Dominicans show up on your door unannounced, yeah. And then at that moment, I was going to say to her, why do you care what Dominicans do when just 10 minutes ago you were talking about being on a beach and how you love private beaches and how you don't like cabarete because you like the private beaches of where you used to live. And if anyone came up close to you, especially a Dominican, you would lift up your purse and you would lift up your towel and look at them and give them a look as if to say, back off. That's what she said during the conversation being at my place. I really didn't need to hear that. Gino wasn't interested in hearing that. Gino's Dominican. And here's this woman from Norway standing in my kitchen, putting down, cabarete, then putting down the beaches, putting down the people. I'm like, what are you even doing in Chatamicos? You don't even like it. This is what I'm thinking in my head. But Gino and I are still being as polite as we can because we both refuse. We're both of those people. And especially me, we refuse to lessen our character to strengthen someone else's. I'd rather be like iron and iron, strengthen each other. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to lessen my character. So I said to her, you know what? If you usually show up at people's doors, that's fine. If that's your culture, then that's cool, but that's not mine. And I would prefer you to call before you come. And then she said, it's not normal again. And I said, well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm Canadian. Maybe it's because I'm from the hood and I just don't like people knocking on my door even a certain way. Even if somebody knocks on my door a certain way and I am expecting them and they knock on my door like that cop knock, just disturbs your soul and rocks the core of your body. They go, knock, 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 knock. What makes you so important to knock on someone's door like that and disturb their peace? Yes, maybe I was expecting someone, but give a little knock, 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 come on. So anyway, as you can probably tell, I was heated, but I didn't let her know. I still smiled and kept it real. And I was like, listen, I don't know how you do it, but this is how I do it. And I handed her my number and she's like, I have your phone number. And I said, that's right, you do. I gave it to you in El Bate. Why didn't you call first? As we all know, you didn't just try to, show up as a guest. No, you know what? After I put two and two together, and I thought to myself, maybe she thinks, because she knows Gino and I are having our, the relationship issues while she was gone, right? So, because I know my neighbor downstairs was filling her in through email. So, he's just a gossip in and of himself, and I'm very, very happy to be away from him. And just hearing gossip about other people. He's the type of person that everybody that walks by the door, he has to tell them about the next person's information that he just heard. Oh, it's just, but he's an older man, and I guess that's his life, right? That's how some people dice it and slice it, and that's what they do. But anyway, I'm glad I'm away from that, but I know that she was informed about what was going on in my world while she was away. And so she maybe somewhere in her brain thought that I got with her man. And that's why Gino and I were going through our stuff. And maybe she thought that her boyfriend never did leave that apartment, because how ironic that I would now be living there and, here. It really is synchronistic that I am living there, and he just lived there months before me. And he literally did live there just months before me. So maybe she thought he didn't let the apartment go at all because it's only $140 a month, right? It's 7,000 pesos for a two-bedroom. So maybe she thought, oh, he lied because he's always lying to her and everything like that. So maybe she thought somewhere in her head, he lied. He didn't let go of the apartment. And oh, as I was in Norway, this woman and him connected. And oh, now this woman is living in that house. And oh, now he's going to be going to see her. And oh, let me go check it out and see if it's real. See if he might be there still. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking now because it was all so strange. Especially when she was like, it's not normal. It's not normal to say I can't come unannounced. I was just like, what? Like, I'm telling you, that B word was on the tip of my tongue and I don't use it often, but that's exactly, I was looking at her like, B, don't make yourself so important in my life. Do not do that to anybody's life. And she totally came in with a wave, just like these white caps right here, with a wave of negativity, with just some negative ignorance that it took my joy for about a good hour. I said to Gino, you know what, let's just go. I jumped on the back of the bike with him. I couldn't even leave. Even she was like, we got outside and I said to her, okay, we got to go. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound so rushed, but you came unexpected, right? And I told her again, when you go to people's house unexpectedly, you don't know if someone just died in their family and they're dealing with grief. You don't know if they just are celebrating a real happy moment and they don't want to invite any outsiders. You don't know if I just got out the shower, if anything, and you feel so important in my world and you don't even know me, that you can show up unexpected and then tell me it's not normal for me to bring you in my house and sit you down. I come from a Nova Scotian family. And they are so hospitable. My family is so awesome that my cousins could show up 3 o'clock in the morning, knock on the door, and my parents will open it up and open up a cot and put them in a bed. And then the next day prepare a room for them and tell me I would have to, sleep with my sisters or my sisters would have to sleep with me or something and give our uncle, our aunt, our cousins the bed and they come unannounced. You know what I'm saying? There have been times when if my two uncles and his sister and her husband show up from Montreal unannounced, my parents would wake us up in the middle of the night and say, you guys are going to sleep down the basement tonight? Because we had a basement apartment kind of thing, always fixed up nice, TV, couches and bed. So my parents would be like, come on guys, get to go sleep downstairs because your uncles are going to sleep in your bed. Or they would, that we're just that hospitable. I'm digressing now, but speaking of Nova Scotia, even just the other day I had a viewer contact me and said she's from New Brunswick. And then I said to her, New Brunswick? Oh, my family's just from Nova Scotia, the province over. She's like, oh, I'm originally from Nova Scotia. And I said, oh, my family's from Amherst, Nova Scotia, and Spring Hill. And she's like, I know a guy from Amherst, Nova Scotia. His name's Bruce Gibson. I got back and I said, Bruce Gibson is my dad's little brother in Amherst, Nova Scotia. She described him to a T. He's a musician and everything. So the world is small. And Mike, I come from a good family. I come from good people. And so for me to complain about something like this is because I feel that woman was totally off base, totally offensive, totally imposing. And then when she said it's not normal, I was like, yeah, you know what? She's getting a video made about her. Because this straight up is... Yeah, you just don't do that to people in their home. You don't go and steal their joy with your negativity and then try to tell them they're not normal. Their reaction is not normal because they didn't treat you the way you felt you should be treated, putting yourself on a pedestal. There's a Bible scripture that says, those who exalt themselves shall surely be humbled. Like, for instance, if you are invited to a wedding, your best friend's wedding, and you haven't seen your best friend for about 5 years, you haven't really been in contact, but your friend is like, I'm getting married, it's a last minute thing, I need you to show up. And then, I need you to show up. And then all of a sudden, you show up to the wedding, you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen their family for 5 years. Yeah, we've been disconnected, we haven't spoken much, but we've been sharing pictures on Facebook. Let me go sit in this front row and show my support. You get into the chapel, you sit in the front row, and then all of a sudden, the usher comes up to you and says, oh, excuse me, this is saved for the family of the groom and the bride. Oh, so you're like, okay, let me go sit in the second row. You sit in the second row, and the usher says, I'm so sorry, this is just for the closest friends. Their names are all right here. And then you look for your name and your name's not there. And then you're like, oh my gosh, let me go to the third row. And then they're like, I'm sorry, in this third row, it's really reserved for people who have RSVP. Did you RSVP? And you're like, oh, well, I did call. I didn't feel I had to RSVP. And then, they're like, well, I'm so sorry. What's your name? I don't even know if you're on the list. Can you just take a seat at the back of the chapel and I'll make sure I get back to you? Right? You thought you were so important that you didn't have to RSVP. You left a little email saying, hey, or called, left a little text, hey, I'll be there. But you didn't do full protocol. But hey, you've been out of touch for 5 years, right? And you expect to exalt yourself. Well, you're surely humbled. The opposite to that story would be if you showed up and you say to yourself, oh my gosh, we haven't really been in contact for 5 years. Sure, we share pictures on Facebook and comment. And yeah, I did, text and say I was going to be here. But oh my gosh, I forgot to send my RSVP in. I forgot to RSVP. And I'll just go sit here at the back of the church. You show up, you get in the chapel, and the usher comes over and says, hi, can I ask you your name? And you're like, you say your name, and the usher says, oh, no, you're not supposed to sit at the back of the church. You're at one of the front. You're sitting with the family. And then you're like, but I'm not the family. I'm a friend. No. You are noted as one of the family. You got the front row seat. Those who humble themselves shall surely be exalted. They shall be put on a pedestal by God. The universe will make you feel like it is at your feet. And that is the type of person that my parents raised. That is who I am. I would never go to somebody's house and expect them to say, oh, Cerise, I was just on my way out. I'm very busy, but I'm going to drop everything for you. Even though you showed up unannounced and I'm so busy, I'm going to drop everything for you. I would feel so guilty. I would say, no, please don't. I can come back. I just live 3 minutes away from you. I just happen to be here. You know what I mean? First of all, I would never do it. But if I did, and I live 3 minutes away from you. You know what? I should have messaged you. I just happen to be around. How about I give you a shout tomorrow and you let me know what the rest of your week is looking like? That's a person who takes social cues. That's a person who understands other people's lives. So she did still steal some joy for a moment. My gosh, enough for me to be able to be blasting it today and making a video about it. But the reason why I'm making a video about it is not just to have a catharsis and get it off my chest, but also because, her reaction, like even when she said, that's not normal. If someone knocks on your door, don't you say, like even just talk to them? I said, no. I said to her, no, I work from home. I'm busy. I work from home. And if you knock on my door, that's like going to someone's work and interrupting them. You don't know if I'm talking to a client who booked an hour. You don't know if I'm talking to a client who just lost a loved one. And I'm trying to ease their soul and help their spirit. You know what I mean? You don't know that. And she goes, well, why can't you just put your hand out the window? Don't you just put your hand out the window and say, hold on 10 minutes? No, I said, absolutely not. If you come to my house unannounced, I'm going to assume that it is important. I'm going to assume that there's something wrong and you need my help. I'm immediately going to say to my client, hold on 1 second, please. There's someone at my door. And if you need help, then I would tell my client I would call them back, because that's the type of person I am. If you don't need help and you're standing at my door, don't expect to stand there for 10 minutes, because I wouldn't make you stand there for 10 minutes either, as I'm busy, especially if I'm on a call that's an hour. So you see, when she said that to me, that just egged me on even more to make this video. Just to say, man, when people come and they impose their ignorant views on you, and they try to impose their negativity on you, sometimes they don't even know how neurotic or negative they are being. when I was getting on the back of Gino's bike at the end, when we finally ushered her out of the house and had her downstairs and had her on the front street, she looked at her car and said, "Oh no." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "There's some air out of my tire." It wasn't flat. It just, one tire was up on the side of the road a little bit more, and so it just looked like she needed a little bit of air. I said, "That's okay, you just need some air. There's a gas station right across yonder." And Gino said, "Yeah," and he started to give her the directions. And she just looked at us and she's like, "How about Sosua Abajo?" And I'm like, "Great, she knows where to go all on her own. We don't even need to give her directions any longer." I'm like, "Great, yep, go there. Come on, Gino." Gino's like, and he didn't understand what was happening at the moment because he was still confused at the whole situation himself. And he's like, "Do you know where to go?" And she's like, "Sosua Abajo." And we're like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Gino, let's go. She knows where she's going." And at this point, I was like livid. So, I pretty much pushed Gino up on the bike. I said, "Let's go." And he got on the bike. I hopped on the bike behind him and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you got to be careful of your heart." And I look at this woman. She's 65 years old. I'm 47 and she's talking to me about my heart because if anything, if I did have anxiety at that moment, I would have railed out on her. I was holding my tongue, holding my corner, and I was doing my best doing it. And I'm like, this woman picks up that I am anxious, like feeling like I want to get away from her, but she doesn't pick up on the social clues from the beginning that she should not even have been at my place. That's backwards. That's not right. That's not the way you're supposed to treat people in life. You're supposed to treat people the way you want to be treated. And I'm sure if she was busy, she would not have given anybody the time of day. I think there was more to the story. Maybe she thought I was doing something with her boyfriend. That's the only reason I could think a woman would go on so crazy. And I think when I said to her, "Don't come back without calling," she probably thought I was saying, like, "Don't come back because you might catch something." I don't know. Why would she say that's not normal? So there's just a lot more, I hope she listens to this video. I hope she watches this video. I really do, because I'm venting not only about her, but I'm telling you guys, don't behave like this. And I hope she watches this video so she can know not to do that to anyone else and treat people a little bit more with respect. Give them a shout before you show up on their gates. And when you don't get the reception, if you choose not to contact them first and you don't get the reception that you want, don't blame them. Just put yourself in check and say, yeah, they are busy. If a person is genuinely nice and generally easygoing and you see that their nature is changed at a moment when you roll up on them and they're busy, then that means that they're trying to continue to be nice and trying to get away from you at the same time. Take the social cues. Now I will never chill with her, ever, because I just feel that I have no interest. We're too different, and I just got to keep it moving. And really, your friends are who you are, and that's not my type of friend, because that's not the type of person I am. Her and I will never break bread, never have coffee, but I hope she will find a lesson in this video, and I hope some of you guys will as well. Don't show up at my door unannounced at all. Don't make yourself that important in my life. I would never make myself that important in your life. I wouldn't even do it to my own mother. You know what I'm saying? So you guys, keep your head up. I hope you guys are enjoying your weather wherever you are. And I know I'm enjoying this. It's not a beach day for me today. I'm going to go look at a few apartments. Patricia, my good friend, is moving down here. She found a place that just down the street from here, actually. That's what we're doing in Cabarete. And she wants me to go check it out and video it for her. So I'm going to do all that. And she got a good deal. If you guys want me to go check out a place for you, I can definitely do that. I do have a service fee for that because it does include my time, my gas, and my energy. However, we can talk if you want me to get an apartment for you that I've already videoed and featured on my YouTube channel. That's a $50 finder's fee because the apartment's already there and it's just a matter of me connecting you with the landlord. Alrighty, guys. 829-702-7726. Oh yeah, and by the way, check out my website, www.cerisefairfax.com. Check out the DR services link and you'll see all the services that I provide. There's residency, $1,500 US. and you get it in 6 to 10 months. If you want it a little bit sooner, in like 45 days, it's 3,500. I will also do grocery shopping for you, get you a box of vegetarian food, pescatarian, or meatitarian. Check out all the information. It's all there for further details. Thank you so much for allowing me into your home, your cell phone, your laptop, wherever you're watching this. I hope this day is finding you beautifully well. God bless you guys, and do not allow anybody to steal your joy.